Good morning, afternoon, or perhaps evening, wherever you're joining us from. Welcome to another installment of a monthly digital transformation webinar series put on by Flawless Inbound. This one's centered around one of two world-class technologies that we represent, being Oracle NetSuite. Today, we're going to be focusing on did your business outgrow QuickBooks, and can NetSuite be the solution? That'll be the topic today about the some of the most popular financial systems, some of the comparisons and differences between them, and what you should know as a business leader when evaluating them. So if you don't know me, my name is Max, and I just want to introduce who's with me on the panel today. So with me, joining us from Grand Prairie, Alberta, but usually out of Mississauga, Ontario, is our NetSuite Solutions Architect, Mohammed. Mohammed, do you want to just say hi to everyone?
Hi, everyone. Looking forward for you guys enjoying the session today.
And also with us, a very unfamiliar face, Seher, our Chief Revenue Officer. Not a lot of people know him, so Seher, just give yourself an introduction.
Sure. Hello, team. Thank you so much for joining today. We're looking forward to hopefully adding more value when you guys are evaluating financial platforms. I've been part of Flawless Inbound for 7 years. And I'm really excited to present with Mohammed today, kind of the difference between different financial solutions.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So before we get into the bulk of the content here of our workshop, we always like to start with this quote. So there are two facets when going through a digital transformation for your organization. There is the technology that you select, but there's also the partner, both equally as critical in this case. The partner has to understand your organizational goals, challenges, and culture, and be able to be adaptive, as well too as recommending the right technology for that, for what is actually going to solve your pain points, help you achieve your business goals, and potentially solve any gaps that may exist in your business. That is what you need out of a good partner. We've been fortunate to do this be part of 120 different digital transformations of B2B organizations across Canada and of course the United States as well. We're very fortunate. We've learned a lot over the years. And going off of that, we've had a wide range of experience in so many different industries, and we're so thankful for all these companies trusting Flawless Inbound to help with their unique digital transformation. We have backgrounds stemming in IT managed service providers to construction to wholesale distribution organizations, manufacturing, shipping and handling, logistics, you name it. We have learned so much from the organizations that we've worked with, and we just wanted to showcase them today. Now, I just want to transition to our two main speakers today, Seher and Mohammed. We're going to go through the agenda and the content here.
Awesome. So thank you so much, Max. And I think, Mohammed, we're ready to go with the presentation today. We're going to focus on a couple of key areas. The first one is, as a founder, co-founder of an organization that is actually expanding, you might be wearing multiple hats. One of your hats might be that you are an acting CFO, Chief Financial Officer for your organization. Or maybe you are the CFO for the organization or a financial manager. What's the key care about, especially in 2021, the fiscal 2021? The second thing we're going to cover today is the key signs that your business actually outgrow a traditional financial-only software platform. And I need to be very careful when I'm presenting this today, because there is amazing, great financial softwares, but they're financial only software, like maybe QuickBooks, Intact, Xero, other platforms that are so good in what they do only when they focus on financials. But there are maybe some signs that maybe you're, as a CFO or as a financial manager or as a growing organization, your leadership team wants to get more out of this platform, but they can't. So we're going to discuss some of those signs. And then from there, we're going to present to you the NetSuite Financial First. That's a module in NetSuite that can actually easily do what maybe you would expect from a traditional financial cloud platform, but then do a lot more. And we're going to focus on 4 or 5 key benefits if I'm just comparing apples to apples. And then I will start interviewing Mohammed after that to share with me the process or the best practice on how to migrate or switch from a legacy financial platform like QuickBooks or others to NetSuite. And then the flawless migration process, we'll speak about it, and of course, Q&A from the audience. So let's start first. This was an article actually that was, first of all, on Gartner, IDC, and other analyst website. And this article actually attracted my attention because sometimes as a founder, co-founder, as a CFO, there are a lot of care abouts that maybe you're focused on right now. Now, one of the key things is as a CFO or as a leader in the company, maybe you're juggling too much responsibility. Maybe managing cash flow is a big thing for you. Lack of access to accurate real-time information. And managing a fast growing company is a good thing, but also it's a very challenging thing. And of course, hopefully finding and retaining high quality team members that can help you to grow the company. And as much as you can, you are accountable for managing the dashboard of operation, which we call it in technical term reports. So think about the general ledger reports, the income statements, balance sheet, all those kind of things. But then I want you to think maybe a little bit more strategic than a traditional QuickBooks reporting. Maybe you want to run a report on how many products were successful. What's my net profit on each and every one? How can I value my vendors? What is my pricing strategy? How can I manage my exchange rate? Do I have enough inventory? How much did I sold? How many days closed sold do I have? How is my account receivable up to par versus my account payable? All those kind of things are advanced reports that day one, it will be very hard for you to automatically curate from a traditional only financial platform. The other things that this list actually is a little bit longer, but I decided not to bore you with all of the other things. But one of the other things I want you to see as a CFO, as a financial manager, cost control is a big critical problem for you. The other thing is budgeting. Budgeting is one of the key strategic exercise that any leaders of organization, they usually do in their Q4 before they step into the following year. And the final thing, of course, is taxation and government regulation. By default, traditional financial cloud-based platform doesn't really help you with preparing your tax or even applying online for your tax for your year end for your organization. For example, you would see some of that as basic functions in Oracle NetSuite and so on. Okay, now let's discuss something else. Usually, I want to share with you today what we learned from other CFO of techniques they would use to improve their cash flow. Maybe as a CFO or as a financial manager, you want to be more strategic to the leadership team. So you want to think outside the box. So you can actually look at your book of business and maybe go back to the leadership team like CEO, VP of sales, or operation director and say, hey guys, maybe I have new revenue streams. And I can see that maybe if we bundle things together, we can get more or proper net profit. So introducing new revenue streams is one of them. Creating and adhering to budget is one of the critical things, because when you start the year, you build a budget, but there's a big difference between budget and actual. And somehow you need, as a CFO, a dashboard in front of you to always manage budget versus actual. And are you actually doing that properly or not? How about invoicing? I want you now to think about the account payable and account receivable. Maybe you are having 1 or 2 or 3 full-time people in your financial division that are only focusing on account payables or account receivable. And what if they miss something? How does that work? Can I automate the invoicing or not? And not only automate the invoicing, but automate the follow-up on invoicing. Appointing a dedicated collection team. Negotiating trade credits with vendors, which is another critical thing, and so on. So you would see that those are just basic strategy where a CFO can bring to the organization to improve cash flow. Sadly, for a CFO to do their work properly, or a founder, co-founder to do their work properly, all what I mentioned right now, you need to add a lot of manual process to do. So you need to export a lot of reports from QuickBooks, do your own magic, and macros and micros on Excel sheet, and then import it back to QuickBooks, and then plug in your account receivable personnel, and then a chat with your bookkeeper, and then chat with your accountant. You find yourself kind of managing too much, and you're not strategic in your operation. So this is one of the key challenges we start seeing, again, if you have a very basic, good enough financial platform. Again, like QuickBooks and others. Also, we've seen that one of the top 5 priorities, usually the CFO or a strategic financial manager that will be looking for, if they're forecasting for 24 months from now, that they need better and faster reporting. Think about last year and what last year did to us from a COVID perspective. Any organization who did not pivot and readjust and think outside the box, they might be struggling right now. Some of them, unfortunately, might be completely out of business. So how to, as a CFO, to add value to the leadership team is you need faster access to reports. Actually, you need real-time reporting. How about revenue growth? That's another thing. Or increasing data visibility. Or maybe implementing a newer financial software. Some of the organizations right now are looking at M&A. Why? Because that is a good opportunity for organizations who have a little bit of deeper pocket to acquire smaller organizations who are struggling. So as a CFO, that is a critical role for you, because now you are evaluating the smaller shop that you want to buy for your business, and you also want to migrate to business books into your operation. What if the shop that you're buying or the small operation that you're buying is actually outside of your jurisdiction? So now you might be dealing with multi-currency, multi-tax systems. This is, again, where a traditional financial cloud-based solution might completely break for you. Also, one of the other things that we see as most important KPIs purely for the business, revenue and income, of course, operation from a growth perspective, and cash flow. So all of those things were very critical. Something that actually started bubbling up a little bit higher last year was days sales outstanding. We usually call it in the financial department DSO. Are you managing this DSO properly? Do you know what will happen if it's kind of split away a week or 2 weeks? How would that affect your cash flow management, which is kind of a mix of science, black magic, and operation efficiency as well, especially when you're doing cash management for the organization. So it's very important to rely not only on a basic financial cloud platform to do that, but hopefully a cloud platform that can integrate with other line of business as well. And hopefully you're not doing all of this manually. And let me just finish this by saying, of course, we know what COVID did to us last year. So if you had to compare between QuickBooks and maybe other clients who had NetSuite managing their accounting, when COVID hit, this is exactly what happened to some of those organizations. The reason is very simple, because the NetSuite accounting platform is not just an accounting platform. It's a little bit more, and of course, we'll discuss more around that. So let me go back. Now we kind of understood the basic, maybe strategic activity a CFO or a financial manager can be focusing on in an organization. Let's go back and tell you a story of a company. This company started growing with a founder, co-founder. They were using maybe QuickBooks. Year 1, year 2, everything was going fine. By year 3, they start hiring a sales team. So they said, so now I need a CRM solution to manage a sales team. But QuickBooks, yes, it can only see my clients, but it can't manage a sales process. So what they did, they decided to buy a CRM solution that's outside of QuickBooks. And then after a while, they said, just for a minute, I need a tool that do a little bit of marketing. CRM or QuickBooks cannot do marketing. So then they start hiring a marketing platform that, of course, it can integrate with QuickBooks or other traditional financial platform, but to integrate it, you have to write APIs, you have to duct tape literary solutions to do that. But then they start growing more, and now they want to have an inventory management software, and they want to have a payroll platform, and they want to have billing and invoicing, and they want to manage their suppliers. I think you got the idea. So they start finding themselves managing a full stack of amazing best-of-breed softwares in each and every section of the organization. Now the CFO, plus the VP of sales, plus the marketing manager, the CEO, even the venture capital who's investing in this company, for them to run QBRs, quarterly business report, it becomes a nightmare. Actually, to manage a QBR, each leader needs to at least book 2 days a month to prepare for a proper reporting. Why? Because they have to practice their muscle of Excel sheets. Let me tell you what I mean by practicing your muscle when you're doing push-ups in Excel sheets. You have to download reports from your QuickBooks, download another report from your CRM solution, a third report from your supply chain management solution, another report from your payroll, and try to do magics with macros and micros and ledgers and all this kind of good stuff. And then hopefully the numbers can line up properly. And hopefully it's accurate numbers that then you can plug in a PowerPoint slide or in a fancy reporting tool like maybe Tableau or other platforms to then show to your leadership team or to your venture capitalists. That's a challenge by itself. What if maybe there is one solution that actually can do everything that I mentioned right now? With a single pane of glass, you can actually have everything connected to this solution, which is the Oracle NetSuite platform. So with the Oracle NetSuite platform, almost everything that I mentioned right now is actually included in that platform. So think about, of course, NetSuite first comes with a module called Financial First. Think about Financial First, that it can easily do the basics of QuickBooks or Xero or other platforms, but do a lot more, which we're going to explain right now. Then it comes with a CRM solution. Also comes with a marketing solution. Actually, Oracle NetSuite have their own e-commerce platform. I know. Some of you are telling me right now, say, hey, just 1 minute. I mean, QuickBooks, I can integrate it with Shopify. Totally get that. But then this means you're paying for Shopify, you're paying for QuickBooks. You need to figure out integration between QuickBooks and Shopify, which, by the way, yes, I understand there is native integration, but usually the native integration will need a little bit of more massaging to make sure that the data is truly syncing properly between platforms. Because again, you're transcending data from one database to another database, and so on and so forth. NetSuite, for example, comes in with something called Suite Commerce, which is included in the NetSuite platform. Maybe now you are dealing with different exchange rates. So this is something that NetSuite does natively inside. Payroll system. Last I knew, traditional financial platforms doesn't have a payroll engine. NetSuite comes in with a payroll engine. How about tax planning? NetSuite comes in with tax planning, but I'm going to show you more things from that perspective. Billing and invoicing. A general ledger reporting. Actual reporting are everything that I was just mentioning right now here, from an inventory, warehouse management, all those kind of things. Of course, NetSuite have a built-in inventory and warehouse management platform as well, which that doesn't even exist if you're just using an enterprise QuickBooks solution or Xero or other platforms. So, and of course, if now you're looking for running reports to consolidate all the activity of your organizations, that's already included in Oracle NetSuite. You don't need to download Excel sheets, practice your macros and micros and equations and all those kind of things. That's already will be programmed in the NetSuite solution for you to do that. So the basic thing you would see, it will help you as a CFO to understand what's my monthly operational cost, what's fixed cost, what's variable cost. Also, it will bring operation efficiency and productivity and automation to everything as a CFO you're doing. Think about your close. How many close are you doing for your organization on a monthly, on a quarterly, or an annual basis? Think about if we can maybe automate those close. Think about the invoicing and the billing and what happened if the client didn't pay their bill on time. Think about your account receivable and account payable. Think about intercompany exchange and transactions. So all of this can actually be automated. Think about payroll and kind of HCM solutions, human capital management solution that actually comes with the NetSuite platform. Think about general reporting and so on. So to summarize the first part of our presentation, if you're a CFO right now, my request to you is just breathe and think and reflect on what you have as a financial platform and what you want your organization to get into a year or two from now. So if one of what we have seen with a lot of organizations, that if the CFO is faced with those challenges, this is where we feel easily NetSuite can take over and can help you and your division, financial division, really kind of move faster, move your organization faster into growth. Juggling too many responsibility, that will be automated. Managing cash flow, that will come in reporting. Lack of access to accurate real-time information, that will be taken care of because all the information is in a single system and it's not bouncing between platforms. Finding and retaining quality workforce, which is, we said before, your team will love working more on the platform because it's easy to use, and hopefully you can curate a lot of reporting out of it to your leadership team and to venture capitalists who are investing in your company. Usually, a platform like NetSuite, Financial First, it comes in with a platform that you would expect. Of course, it will be cloud-based. Of course, it have a mobile app, and you can have access to everything. And out of the box, it comes with ready-made 300 plus business intelligent reports with a little bit of AI machine learning because it can detect if there was any account receivable problems that can happen down the road. It can detect and build profiles for customers of when they usually buy. Of course, it can do bank reconciliation, and it can autofill bank reconciliation for you and a lot more. But here is now where really NetSuite, if I'm just comparing apples to apples, here is now really where NetSuite, you can find it light years ahead of any other financial platform if I'm just comparing it with a financial platform. See, the base license of NetSuite comes in with financial management, item management, and all the basic 6 business processes: lead to quote, order to cash, return to credit or return to debit, and procure to pay. To be able to do that with a traditional cloud-based only financial platform, it will take you too much programming, and some of them cannot even adjust or optimize their process. As I said before, NetSuite can actually create different login credentials for your staff, your financial staff, and also if you have a bookkeeper who's dialing in from outside or an accountant who will do the taxation for you year-end. The second thing, if I'm just looking at the financial management basic model in NetSuite, of course, it builds your chart of accounts, journal entry, bank reconciliation, but then it excels in, because the first part here, overview of your general ledger, yeah, that's done by any traditional financial cloud platform. That's basics. But then this is really where it really excels. Budgeting and comparing budget with actual and running the delta between budget and actual on quarterly basis. The periods of close. Usually right now, if I ask you as a CFO or financial manager, what do you do each time you close? Maybe you do a lot of manual things with you and your team. Imagine this new concept of virtual close. You're closing your book of business almost on a bi-weekly. It's closed by default. So you can actually automate this close period in the system. Now let's deal with the elephant in the room. Tax schedules, tax preparation. Maybe usually traditionally, you need your external auditing company or external accounting department to dial into your platform, export your data, put it in their platform, prepare taxes, and then apply taxes for you as an organization. In NetSuite, there's actually a tax module, and it can understand exactly the taxation, US versus Canada versus, and you can actually apply the taxes with a tax form depending on the city or the country that you are applying tax for. How about financial reports? Sure, the basic will be included there, exactly like QuickBooks and others, but then you can actually run advanced reporting, almost 300 plus canned reports that of course can be customized for your team. But we're just scratching the basics here. Now, what if some of us today are in manufacturing, warehouse distribution, and others, and you're actually building an item in-house, or you are doing basic manufacturing or assembly, basic assembly, and you want to sell your products and services to the outside public. This is now where really NetSuite excels versus traditional financial platforms like QuickBooks and others. You can actually build a reporting strategy. You can build an item management, the component of each item. You can build a pricing matrix to say, if I'm selling, I can have pricing for tier 1 versus tier 2 versus tier 3. You can build a full inventory strategy. What does that mean? that you can actually know exactly, do I have this inventory in-house, or do I need to go out and order this inventory? And if I'm ordering this inventory, do I have a strategy of which partner should I order it from? What's my supply chain strategy? You can actually manage all of that built in NetSuite. All what I said so far, by the way, that's above and beyond a traditional um, basic financial cloud platform. Order to cash, procure to pay, inventory tracking, all of that is managed within the platform. Let me go deeper. Lead to quote. So now, since NetSuite is not just a financial platform, but actually it can have a front end where people can go in through maybe an e-commerce platform built on NetSuite, not on Shopify, built on NetSuite on your website, so that I can actually put an order in. This order can go into the CRM, which is in NetSuite, then goes into managing the opportunity, where then somebody can actually invoice a client, and then you can have the order to cash. This whole process is programmed in NetSuite. This whole process, to try to duct tape it and program it in a financial only platform, honestly, you can't. Why? Because you need a CRM solution, and maybe your process doesn't align exactly as per what this platform is giving you, so you need advanced programming. With NetSuite, if you guys can see the arrows here in the slides, we can adjust and optimize the arrows to match your business model. That's just the lead to quote, the first process. How about order to cash? So there's a sales order coming in. You want to make sure, is it fulfilled or not? Because maybe if it's not fulfilled, meaning I need to order the back end of that product. If it's fulfilled, that maybe I can start invoicing my client, and then does the invoice deliver? Where is my account receivable? Is it account receivable 30, net 30, net 60, net 90? You can actually build a lot of reports around that. Again, NetSuite comes with a full process program like this, or it can be customized towards your needs. How about return to credit? So maybe if a client returned an order, how do you manage that? With basic financial platforms, you say, okay, no problem. Just the money is kind of back. I lost this deal. I returned the product. With NetSuite, since NetSuite now is managing your inventory, managing your account payable and account receivable, and actually even can reflect back maybe on the sales rep who sold this deal, then this quota or revenue need to be adjusted on their side as well. With the basic financial platform, it doesn't understand how much was the quota for that sales rep. It doesn't understand inventory. It will rely on an external platform like Shopify, for example, or other platform to manage inventory. Inside of NetSuite, it's all in one platform. It's a consolidated platform. So you can measure all of that from. Forgot to mention one critical thing here is that each and every arrow that's pointing in my slide here today, maybe you want to add an approval process on top of it. So we can have our team adjust and optimize an approval step in each process, so that you ensure that if something happened, your manager can see that, can approve it with just one mouse click, and it can go through. And then, of course, you can ensure refunding the customer at the end of the day. Procure to pay. Now you're getting a lot of orders online, or a lot of orders even in your store or offline. So do you have enough inventory to be able to sell more? Can you manage your inventory? Do you have a carryover of inventory that might be hurting your cash flow? All of those questions cannot be answered with a just a legacy cloud-based financial platform. But with a platform like NetSuite, because it can see your inventory, because it does have an inventory engine built into it, you can actually answer and control all those needs as well. Same thing with return to debit. You can actually ensure that your income statement, your balance sheet, your vendor management, everything can be reflected accordingly.
Seher, I have a question. You've shown a couple of business processes here that I think every CFO is familiar with, but I'm wondering, at what point would one organization or one CFO would want to make the switch from QuickBooks to NetSuite?
We find that I shared 4 or 5 processes. Those are basic processes come with NetSuite. Usually a traditional financial cloud platform like QuickBooks and others, maybe they can manage 1 or 2, and they will manage in a very kind of static way. But if a CFO feels that his or her business needs more processes, this is where actually NetSuite can come in handy. And this is where maybe they should think about switching to a platform like NetSuite, either from QuickBooks or from Xero or from other financial platforms as well.
Thank you.
And actually, Sahir, just to add to that as well, it's one other good indicator of when you're outgrowing QuickBooks, Max, would be when it comes to reporting. If your basic platform is not strong enough to report on your business needs, then it's time to switch, right? The moment you have, as Sahir mentioned earlier, the moment you have to start to run reports from different systems, or it takes such a long time to run just one report and to be able to extract data from one area, then you definitely know that you've outgrown the current system that you're on.
Beautiful. That's a very good point, Mohammed. And just want to make sure for the audience, please make sure to put all your questions in the Q&A. Max will stop us at any time to make sure that me and Mohammed can answer the questions as well. So Max, you're monitoring the Q&A, is that correct?
I sure am, yeah.
Awesome, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any questions, or can we continue?
There's one. My good one is NetSuite the only fully cloud platform, and what would be the difference between NetSuite and something like SAP?
Yeah, and that's a very good question. So there were in the past, like 5-10 years ago, right? Some financial platforms were really challenged to move to the cloud, but I can tell you that right now, all platforms are having either the promise to move to the cloud, or maybe have a smaller, early version of their platform or cloud-based platform. NetSuite, from 20 years ago, almost 1998, when nobody's speaking about cloud, like if you speak to anybody about cloud, they would just look up in the sky, right? So from 1998, NetSuite was actually officially the first financial cloud platform. That's 1998. And then it started growing from there. So now, of course, Intact bought QuickBooks, and then QuickBooks is having the cloud version and the enterprise version, which is kind of installed in your data center. There's still gaps between features in the cloud version versus the installed base version in your data center. Again, NetSuite was born in the cloud from 1998, so they have velocity and roadmap of features faster than any other platforms. And maybe for some audience as well, NetSuite also now is supported by the bigger mothership, which is Oracle. So when Oracle bought NetSuite in 2016, now there is a lot of R&D budget that was added into NetSuite to add even more feature function. That's why if I'm trying to compare just NetSuite with other financial platforms only, to be honest with you, it's not a fair comparison anymore, because a basic financial platform doesn't have a CRM, doesn't have a payroll, doesn't have a warehouse management, doesn't have a fully integrated standalone e-commerce platform. Like, you need to buy all of those to at least compare apples to apples with NetSuite. So of course, for clients who maybe are eventually looking to add those into their QuickBooks installation, it will be this duct tape picture that I shared in the beginning of my slides, versus saying, hey, you know what? I'm going there, by all means, maybe I can just transition to the basic module in NetSuite, which is Financial First. And then I can enable more modules on NetSuite, native in the platform, as my business is growing. And everything is cloud-based. The other thing about cloud-based in NetSuite, NetSuite is true cloud. Let me tell you what I mean by that. And I think if there is technical audience in the team, they will get that. So what does true cloud means? It means the following. Each client will have their own copy of their NetSuite platform in the cloud. This is number one. Number two, they have a lot of data center for redundancy and availability. Number three, when NetSuite decide to upgrade their software, that's done automatically. The customer doesn't need to panic, doesn't need to prepare for anything. Actually, to the point that usually 3 months before, NetSuite will send an email to the partner like us, and we're working with our clients. We'll tell our clients, by the way, NetSuite is doing an upgrade in 3 months from now. What we usually do as a NetSuite partner, we can enable a sandbox. We replicate instantly all the data of the existing NetSuite platform into that new sandbox that will have the new feature function. Then we get the client, CFO or leadership team or receivable account payable person, log into the platform, make sure that they're happy with how it will look like 3 months from now because it's upgrading. Then they approve, and then with the click of the mouse, we switch. This is, to me, a definition of a true multi-tenant cloud platform versus a single tenant cloud platform, meaning I am vendor A, I'm moving from version 1 to version 2. I force all my install base worldwide to move from version 1 to version 2, and I cannot switch back. NetSuite is different from that perspective. So it's a true multi-tenant cloud-based platform. Max, I hope that answered your question. And Mohammed, did I miss anything from that answer? Or?
No, it's you covered it perfectly, Sahir. So yes, so NetSuite is every person who is running NetSuite, they are running the same instance of the software. So you could be running it from across the world, and I could be running it from North America. We're accessing the same instance of NetSuite. However, you can have your own set of customizations, and I can have my own set of customizations, and we both see two very different views of the same software, right? And as you mentioned, upgrades, actually just to add to the upgrades happen twice a year with NetSuite, where they do push out all of their updates and feature upgrades, and they do give all of the clients 3 months preview to be able to see all of the changes that are coming up prior to each release.
Beautiful. Awesome. Now, if we really want to now take this and really do now an advanced comparison, and don't worry, I'm not going to go there, but this is more of, actually NetSuite can do a lot more. Now, I can promise you that this slide, this is now where all the traditional financial only platform, it would be a very unfair advantage to compare them to NetSuite. I'm trying to be honest and upfront, because now this is really advanced feature function, but this is more of an eye chart for all the audience today to understand that NetSuite can do a lot more than just a basic cloud-based financial platform that can integrate with other platforms. Now, the final thing that actually we have seen with clients where now other platforms like QuickBooks and other really break down completely is when your organization is expanding globally. Nobody spoke about this before. But right now, during COVID, where everybody's working remotely, think about it for a second. You can hire remote team members. You can open satellite offices. So actually, COVID came with an advantage and with a disadvantage. We all knew about the disadvantage. But when you change the way how you look at things, the things that you look at change. So COVID actually now is a digital transformation accelerator that helped organizations expand globally. But when you expand globally, traditional cloud-based financial systems break down completely. Why? Because first, you need multi-currency. Not only multi-currency, maybe you have multi-entities in your organization. Maybe you have holding companies and operational companies. Traditional cloud-based like QuickBooks and other breaks completely here. Like you can't even go there with that. I'm not saying that's the only reason why you need to move away from a traditional cloud financial platform, but that's the final reason that you might need that. Let me complicate it more. If now you're operating in North America, you have an accounting practice called GAAP. But if you're operating in Europe, there is something called IFRS. QuickBooks, for example, can only manage one accounting book per organization. NetSuite can manage multi-accounting book practices, GAAP, IFRS, or even in some countries and cities globally, there's something called local statutory accounting rules. And in NetSuite, you can actually do that, and you can manage that perfectly without any glitch. And actually, when you switch reporting, you can actually reflect on that. So, Mohammed, maybe can you share with us just quickly, how would that look like if now I'm managing a holding company, operating company, and reports, how it look like? So I'll stop here, and you can quickly show us that. I think Mohammed is on mute. I think there was another question while Mohammed is putting himself off mute, comparing NetSuite with SAP. Of course, SAP does have the full enterprise version, and it does have the cloud version. The only thing with SAP that usually so if you're comparing SAP, I'm assuming that you're maybe a $500 million company and above, because their pricing is very inclusive of a lot of things, versus I can do exactly everything between NetSuite and SAP with a smaller license model, so price efficiency comes in handy, and it's as cloud stable as SAP from that perspective. But whoever is asking about SAP definitely would love to connect with you offline and kind of go into a detailed comparison with the difference between NetSuite and SAP. Mohammed, so what are you showing us here?
Sure. So what I'm showing here, Sahir, is the dashboard. This is the main dashboard whenever you would log in to NetSuite. So this dashboard is customizable to your specific needs, and it's a different dashboard that can show different KPIs and measurable items that are within your organization, and it's customizable to each individual user or role, whatever you would like to do with it. So you can personalize it through the personalization settings here, and you can add or remove whatever you would like from there.
Got it. So can I ask you a couple of questions?
Sure.
So if I go back to this main board, and if you can close this one. So now I'm seeing that I have the holding company on the left side here up. So I have the holding company. I have a company in the one of my operating companies in the US, in Canada, United Kingdom. So if I click on any of them, instantly my exchange rate will be taking effect. My KPIs per division or per satellite of office will be taking effect. So I'm seeing this in US
Absolutely,
dollars,
yes.
and then if I click on GB, then it will be.
So if you see now, this is in USD, and if I click on the UK one, you will see automatically it goes to the British pound.
Right.
And,
so now
let's updates all of your KPIs for that.
So let's say Flawless and Bound now are expanding in Europe, and I have now a satellite team. I need to open a small entity there due to taxation. I can, as a leader, part of the leadership team, kind of in a second, me and my co-founder can see exactly what's the operation is happening there without even bugging my financial manager out of Europe, and I can see what's going on there, and I can give them KPI, understand their account receivable, account payable versus US. And this is where QuickBooks and other platforms completely break when it gets to, okay, got it. What else do you want to share with us, Mohammed?
Absolutely, sir. So just kind of to give you an idea, right now I'm logged in as the financial controller. So that is why all of the KPIs that you are seeing are revenue and dollars related. If I was logged in as, for example, the manufacturing manager or so forth, my KPIs can be custom to what my job role is and what is relevant to me and what I would like to see. So, for instance, here you can see all of your financials, your reporting, your balances, last period, per fiscal quarter, per fiscal year, your net income, your gross profits, GPs, right? Your maintained margins, and quickly from within here, you can quickly access whatever report or whatever area that is making up those specific areas. So for instance, now I just clicked on the income statement and it pulled up the income statement for that period that I had, which I had selected last fiscal year, right? So from January to December 2020. From within the report itself, so this is a summarized report, and I can actually drill even deeper to view the details of the items that are actually making up those line items within the report. So you can actually drill down and see the specific invoices that added up to that number that you had clicked on. So for instance, now I can go in and look at invoice 437, and if I click on it, it will actually open up that specific record. And you can view the details of that record. You can view who the invoice was sent out for, who created the invoice, and at what stage the invoice is at. Is it paid? Is it unpaid, right? Did you already collect a deposit on it for instance, and so forth.
So Mohammed, I have a couple of questions. So I know this part that you're showing me can look maybe almost the same if you have any financial cloud platform like QuickBooks and others. The strength that I see here is that this system is having a built-in CRM. And this system is having a built-in inventory and for house management platform. So if I want to do a recall or something, I can actually go back. You don't need to show this now, Mohammed, but if I want to do a recall or anything, I can go back and I can connect everything together versus an only financial platform. You cannot really do that. You have to export in an Excel sheet. You have to query. You have to know where was the product recalled from, what facility was it recalled from, and then you have to go in and log into a different platform and do the recall manually yourself, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of where
absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Sahir. So every single record that is within the NetSuite platform will have there's a related records tab that shows you and through which you can access any related record that is, I'm sorry, like any record that is related to that specific invoice or purchase order or whatever it might be. So examples of such related records would be any purchase orders that are related to a specific invoice. And then you can view who created it, where did it come from, if it's a lot numbered or a serialized product, which lot number that item is associated with, and when that lot expires, when it came in, when it was sold, who it was sold to, who it was sold by. Everything is interconnected within the same system without you having to go anywhere else or put together any kind of reporting.
And I can change that. And I can go in and I can change it. And I can change exactly, maybe adjust things with the sales team and with the marketing team or with the e-commerce, not just see it, but I can actually go and change the record as well. Is that correct? Because it's the same system, right? I don't need to export and import or write APIs, and then the APIs breaks, or a vendor is updating their software in the cloud, but the other vendor is not. And now I had to get my IT consultant to figure this one out. I'm a CFO. I have a report tomorrow to the leadership team. I'm in full panic because the system is down because two vendors are not playing nice together. So with the NetSuite platform, we can fix that. Mohammed, I want to ask you a question. So we spoke about business close and the virtual close for a company. Can you show me like the idea of account? I can see in the other tab you have here, managing account periods. Speak to us quickly about that.
Sure. So obviously, every single business that is running there, it will have its fiscal year ends, right? So your fiscal year end, it could be a calendar year. So for instance, here I have it set up from January to December as a fiscal year. And those fiscal periods, so whether it be monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually, it's something that you can set up in NetSuite, and it's very customizable to your business needs. So for instance, as I mentioned here, I have my periods are monthly. So you for instance, you see like January, February, March, and those 3 periods, they roll up into Q1. And likewise for the following 3 months, they roll up into Q2 and so forth. And then all of the quarters roll up into my fiscal year. This is very customizable, again, to your specific business needs. And once you are done with a specific accounting period, you can then lock that specific period to make sure that no changes are made to it. So obviously, this prevents any entry errors, for example, by the customer service team or the AR team, if they accidentally were to post to a wrong period, right? And then you make sure that from an audit point of view and from an accounting point of view, that you are solid there and you don't leave any gaps or any room for errors to have. So for instance, here I have my January, February, and March, April, and May accounting periods have been locked fully. So no one can post to them. You can still view the records and go back to all of your historical data, but no one can make any edits or changes to those specific records.
And I know that sometimes in company closed, as a CFO or as a financial manager, you have maybe 4 or 5 specific manual processes that you and your team need to do. my understanding that this platform can actually automate or initiate those processes automatically. And then I will only get notified with, and I can accept, reject, or confirm and apply to the database or to the system.
Absolutely correct. Yes, and generally those are the different processes that take place whenever you want to close an accounting period. So as you see here, it makes sure the system makes sure that you're covering every single financial aspect of your business and making sure that it is closed before you move on to your next period and before you move on to the next step, right? So just a very high level here. First of all, you lock your AR to make sure that no new receivables are added, right? And likewise, you lock your AP to make sure that no more payables are added. Then you lock all, which includes all of your inventory adjustments and so forth, to make sure that nothing further is posted to that specific period that will have a GL impact or financial impact, right? And then you just go through the checklist. All of those checklist items are automated, so or they could be set up that if one closes, it triggers the next close automatically, and so forth. So it's a very fail safe system that you can have set up there. And just to show you very quickly how easy it is to set up those accounting periods. Let's say it is the end of 2021 now, and I want to set up a new year. I just go and I say fiscal new year is 2022, and I just hit save. And now it will automatically generate my new accounting period for fiscal year 2022 right there.
You know what, Mohammed, what you showed me right now with this and the previous, that's usually for any companies 5 million and above. That's usually easily a 5 to 6 days, full days, 8 hours a day of somebody inside the financial department, just kind of heads down, bless their heart, they're trying to do the right thing, but that's a lot of manual process. I can see we can reduce a lot of that by just implementing a solution like this, which, by the way, again, traditional financial system can do a little bit, but not exactly like that. Final thing, Mohammed, is show me just from a high level reporting, just very high level, what comes with the system?
Sure. So this right now, I'm in the reporting tab. All of these are pre-built reports that are already set up in NetSuite without me touching anything. On top of these, you can customize, add, and create however many personalized reports you would like. If you want to add specific columns, specific data that you would like to see. So for instance, your financial section, it comes with all of your traditional reporting, your trial balance, GLs, chart of accounts, income statements, balance sheets, and so forth. And likewise for all of the other areas. So your sales orders, you can do sales order by customer, by item, by sales rep, by partner, by vendor, whatever it might be, your inventory reports, your order management reports, your receivables, your purchases, your vendors. All of these reports come straight out of the box without me having to do anything at all. And as I mentioned, you can customize and add an unlimited number of reports for each specific user if needed.
And what you're showing is just a basic modules that comes in NetSuite. That's kind of, we're just trying as much as we can to be fair. So we're just comparing apples to apples with the NetSuite Financial First, that the first module they have, compared to a traditional, let's say, a QuickBooks or Intact or Xero or other platforms. Going further now, the system, I can see it does have payroll, does have a CRM, it has a marketing engine, a warehouse management engine, a budgeting engine, so I can budget. I understand also that there's an exchange, the exchange matrix of like exchange rate. There's intercompany, costing that I can adjust and optimize if I'm dealing with multi-subsidies or subsidiaries with different currency. So all of that can be included in this platform as well.
Correct. Yes, everything. It's 100% customizable, and the possibilities are endless. It's such a powerful reporting tool, Sahir, and there is no limit, regardless of which currency you're dealing with, which physical area, which regardless how many entities you have, how many locations, departments, and you can report on each specific department, on each specific subsidiary, and so forth.
You know what, Mohammed, one of the key things I'm hearing, and I'm hearing from the audience here in some of the questions, is that sometimes remotely building and accessing aging reports, especially for outsourcing invoicing, is a big thing for big organizations. Think about construction, manufacturing, warehouse distributions, and others. I can see that this can fix all of that immediately. You don't need to have each and every time. You want, as a CFO, we understand you're technical in what you do best, which is numbers. The numbers are telling a story, but you're not technical into programming a report or things like that. With NetSuite, that's so easy for you to do. You don't need each and every time to call a consultant to do that for you, or you need the IT department to come in and do a special program to do that for you. So it comes in with those platforms where you can do all the accessing, building aging reports, and loading them back in the system and do comparison and so on. So that's
you're absolutely right, Sahir. So as you just see, literally from the home reports page, I just clicked on AR aging, and this automatically generated all of my aging report as of today.
Amazing.
Right? And this is the summary view, and this is for all of my subsidiaries. But let's say I just want to see Canada. I will just click Canada, refresh the data, and it will just show me specifically for my Canadian subsidiary, right?
Yeah. And again, for some people who are just dialing late to the demo here, I know that you can click in and drill down, and this will take you to the CRM that's built in. It will take you to the warehouse management that's built in. It take you to the e-commerce platform that's built in. So you don't need to pay for another front-end e-commerce platform to be able to do that, which includes the payroll and other things as well.
Yeah. So this is a detailed view. So if you wanted to drill into a specific customer, you can just expand there, and it shows you the numbers that created that AR balance.
Thank you, Mohammed. That's perfect. And I know, again, for the audience today, if you need to have a detailed demo specific for you, please make sure to follow up with Max, myself, or Mohammed, and we can book time and do that. Okay, so I'll start sharing again. Mohammed, if you can, perfect. I'll go from here. So I know one of the key questions was, but is it true cloud? Can you guys see my slides here? Let me just make sure I put them back on presentation mode. Hopefully you guys can see my slides. Yes, perfect. So NetSuite one word global financial platform actually can support 190 plus currency with automatic exchange rate. They're already integrating with 90 plus banks worldwide, Canadian, US, European, comes in with almost 20 languages, 160 countries deployed in, and of course, 200 plus countries and dependent territories transaction, which means they understand different financial books, meaning IFRS versus GAAP versus statutory. And also you can actually build your taxation from within the platform as well. So in a nutshell, right, it's a cloud-based platform. Everything is included in it. The GL, the exchange rate, it supports multi-currency, real-time consolidation, real-time reporting. So to summarize where we are, we can see now that this is a single platform that can truly bring automation and digital transformation to your organization with the dashboard that can be fully customized that Mohammed in 2 minutes showed them to you guys today. You can actually have this concept of virtual close as a CFO. So you can be closing your book of business almost on a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly basis, and you can automate all of that. In my mind, this is easily, you reduced your work of your team 5 days EFT per month easily, and you can deploy this human capital in other sections in your financial divisions, or maybe you can make them ready for online orders and stuff like that. You can streamline the back-end office, and of course, as you can see, and Mohammed shows you just a glimpse of what you can get with the platform, 300 plus built-in accounting reports that come in by default with the system without you asking for any customization. So now to the final section is, so how can we deploy a system like that? In Flawless Unbound, we actually are a NetSuite solution partner, and we usually have this methodology called the triple P. Our team, we have a full team that can actually help you with that, and we have a playbook of how we can launch a migration and launching a full platform in 100 days. And of course, somebody knows on the call, we carry two core platforms, Oracle NetSuite and HubSpot. So, Mohammed, I want to ask you, when we speak about our 100 days launchpad, before you go there, can you tell me first, if I have a client who is working already on a legacy or a traditional cloud-based financial platform, what are the key things that they need to think of or we can help them with when they're migrating data?
Sure. So for the data migration specifically, it's just on a very high level. There's 7 steps, seven key areas that we just look at. So the first one is your chart of accounts. This is the first thing where you would just need to set up your chart of accounts. And a lot of this is also for reporting purposes to make sure that when you are reporting, everything goes into the right account. Then you would bring in your product data, your customer data, your vendor data, and then you will bring in your historical transactional data. So your sales orders, your purchase orders, and that is a discussion that we can have as to how much data you want to bring in. You want to bring in 2 years, 3 years, 7 years, whatever it might be. And then obviously we'll bring in your open GL balances as of conversion date. And obviously at every single given point, we would be verifying the importing data as it is coming in.
Which is very important for sure.
Yeah. And then just very, very quick tips and tricks for successful migration from a data migration point of view. Data migration is the foundation of your business. So you want to make sure that this is created as a separate project on its own, right? You would have a dedicated team and dedicated resources for it to make sure that all of your data is clean, all of your data is up to date, there is no duplication and so forth. Making sure that at every given point in time, everyone is involved with the data migration set of it, because the data impacts every single person within your business, right? So if I'm bringing the AR data, I want to make sure that the AR team is continuously checking the data to make sure that it is correct, there is no errors and so forth. And likewise for all of the different departments. Obviously, the actual load time of the data, if you want to bring in 1 year of data, is going to take less time than bringing in 7 years of data, right? So we have to account for how much time and budget for that time correctly. And I mentioned earlier, making sure the data is clean. Just in a nutshell, garbage in, garbage out, right? So you want to make sure that all of the data that is coming in is nice, clean, and no duplicates. You want to make sure that the data is mapped properly. So if it's, again, as you mentioned earlier, whatever chart of accounts it was mapped to previously in the legacy system, you want to make sure that it's that it is mapped properly in the new system. Whatever items it was associated with in the legacy system, it has to be associated with the same items in the new system, right? And then finally, of course, verify. We always want to make sure that every data that we bring in is verified at every step of the way during the migration process.
Beautiful. And that's why having a partner in the journey is very critical, and somebody who is accountable with you when you are migrating the data, and he's with you when you are kind of moving to the new system, training and so on. Which then bring me to, we always speak inside of Flawless about the 100-day launch or a launch pad for a basic financial platform, or even a financial platform that can do a lot more, like an ERP platform. So, Mohammed, can you walk us through kind of what we would do if we're working with a client for 100-day to migrate them and move them to the new platform, which is Oracle NetSuite?
Sure, sir. So our 100-day launch pad consists of 4 phases. Each phase is approximately 3 to 4 weeks. So the first phase, we would come in. That is when we really get to learn about your business. That is where the project kickoff takes place. That is us understanding your business and sitting down with you and coming up with a strategy for the migration and for the implementation project, right? So that is where we also engage all of the business partners and all of the departments. So this is the engagement phase. The second phase, week 4 to 8, this is actually driving. So this is sitting down and actually starting the configuration process, writing any scripts if needed for any customizations, and sitting down with your team and coming up with an acceptance test plan and writing our test scripts and so forth. The third step would be the enablement, which is week 9 to 13. That is when we finalize the data migration. We train the end users in the different departments, and we make sure that the system is functioning well and as expected, as we had agreed upon previously. The last step is that's post go live. So go live happens between step 3 and 4, or between phase 3 and 4. Now in phase 4, that is where we flip the switch on. We're there with you, supporting your team in the post go live, making sure that that everything is running smoothly, and walking with you through the post conversion step there, and planning for any future phases if needed.
Beautiful. Thank you, sir. And again, I know we're kind of back into what makes a project like this successful. Management team and the leadership team needs to kind of on board with how we're doing things. Good organization change management needing to be in place and so on. Training is one of the key things that we usually do to ensure that the users are ready for the new system and know how to work with it. And usually we take ownership of all of that when we're working with the client. So Max, I will hand it back to you to help us into kind of bringing this webinar into closure as well.
For sure, great work, Seher and Mohammed. That was thorough. After that, I feel like I don't even need Flawless and Bounds help. I can just do my own ERP project myself.
Here you go.
So
Here you go.
yeah, your expertise was your downfall in this workshop. But just in closing, we often get asked in our engagement approach, who supports my organization when I work with Flawless Inbound. And we want to show that there's a full team. These are all in-house Flawless Inbound employees, all subject matter experts. You have an account manager who's going to be your point of contact and very much your project manager end to end for this implementation. You have a principal NetSuite solution architect. If you aren't familiar with him, his name is Mohammed, and he is one of the panelists right now. We have, depending on the scope of the project, 1 to 2 digital transformation technologists. Of course, with any cloud ERP, it plays a role in the cloud, and oftentimes there's a requirement to have some part of your ERP live on your website. So we put a website and graphic design developer on the team. Our client director, Patricia, who many of you know, and as well, we also have a growth strategist who sits down, understands your organization, and ensures that the project matches the organizational strategy, addresses the challenges, and also any gaps that you have in your business processes.
Perfect.
And also the best, if you enjoyed this webinar and stayed with us this whole time, we really appreciate it. If you want to find out more information about Oracle NetSuite, HubSpot, or any other events that we're doing, the best place to find that is actually on our LinkedIn company page. So we recently actually hit 1,000 followers on that. So we're very thankful for all the attendees we've had over the last couple of years since we first started doing our workshops. And yeah, feel free to follow us on there. You'll see all our announcements for future events as well too. Mohammed, myself, and Seher are all very active on LinkedIn. So feel free to connect with us. And if you have any follow-up questions, we'll be happy to answer. And in closing, just again, we opened with this, but we also want to let you know a bit more about Flawless Inbound. So we are one of the only Canadian partners with representing the Oracle NetSuite brand. Our team has a expertise in two types of project: net new ERP implementations and also ERP rescue projects. If you aren't familiar with that is, we've actually gone in strategically for when there's been a failed ERP implementation, and our team has come really come together, solutioned, developed a new project, and made that a successful implementation. We have, if you saw at the very beginning, the range of clients that we've worked with. We have expertise in wholesale distribution, manufacturing, retail, and hospitality. And we are a member of a number of organizations that we're very proud of. Vistage, which if you are a Vistage member, actually later this month, we are putting on a hybrid commerce themed webinar. So if you want more information about that and you're a Vistage member, reach out to myself, Seher, and we'll be happily give you the registration page for that. We're also a member at BC Tech and the Mars Discovery District.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Max. Thank you, Mohammed, and thank you everybody for joining today. We're always here to help you in your digital transformation project or any question you might have. Thank you, team.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.